have Portland slag cement, which is Ramco Samudra as well as Ramco Super Steel. So all of you would be aware of the importance of blended cement from a low heat of hydration perspective as well as for enhancing the durability. So we have variety of blended cements for various applications. We also have ordinary Portland cement, which has also been fine-tuned based on the various concrete requirements that is being put into use. Because what we have observed is that there are variety of concretes which are being used at various construction sites. Some of the concrete would want to have a high one-day strength. Some concrete would want to have a longer slump retention time. And some of the concrete would be produced by certain units, those who have good access to blending materials like fly ash or slag, like say for example batching plant, ready mix concrete units. So for them, we have Ramco 53 grade infra, Ramco 53 grade, 43 grade infra, 43 grade. Then we have the Super Coast, which is a sulfate resisting Portland cement, which is being specified for places where there is a lot of sulfates. So for such works, Ramco Super Coast or sulfate resistant cement is specified. What we had observed is that there are a number of units where precast application is being followed. So precast products are being cast. There are a number of units across many of our regions. So we saw their requirement. They needed one-day strength. So for that, we have the Ramco Superfast, which is having a very high one-day strength. So the advantages that one can get is quick removal of formwork and a quick gain of strength. So for that, we have Ramco Superfast. So we have the 12 brands of cement, which is being specified for customization is all about as far as cements are concerned. Apart from that, we have the dry mix range of products for various applications, especially non-structural applications. You can take the case of Ramco Tile Fix, which is being used in many projects, Ramco Block Fix, Ramco Self-Curing Plaster, Ramco Superfine, Ramco Super Plaster, and Ramco Tile Grout. So these products are coming from our dry mix plant at Sri Perumbudur in Chennai, and these are also customized based on the various applications that one can go into. So we are also specialized the dry mix products based on non-structural applications. All this is possible because of our Ramco Research and Development Center at Chennai, which does a lot of work in the area of cement and concrete. In fact, in a very few companies, you will see that a separate research center is there. The idea of having a research center is that it is always better to evaluate the quality of materials as well as the quality of end product. Like say, for example, concrete in this case, we would always, we always believed in supporting our customers in making a good concrete mix design. So what we do is that we take the concrete mix proportions from them, their requirements, and we do a kind of concrete mix design at our research center with the chemical admixtures that you are using, because all of us are aware that there are a number of chemical admixtures which are available in the market, and the cement admixture compatibility is playing a vital role as far as the construction goes. So to help our customers, to enable them to make good concrete, we ensure that the cement and admixture is very much compatible. So for that, we have the Ramco Research Development Center, where we have a lot of database from across the projects for various grades of concrete ranging from M10 to M100. And you can also understand with various permutations and combinations in terms of slump, in terms of strength, and all those factors. So that is what Ramco Research Development Center has for all of us. 4 Leaves Award, which has been given to the organization for leadership in technology, energy efficiency, and for usage of blending materials. So basically the thing is that you cannot be environmental friendly unless you have the technology for cement manufacturing process. So we have the latest technology starting from mining till packing. So that is one thing. Now we had started this series of webinars during the lockdown, and almost we have completed more than 20 webinars as on date on various topics. The topics range from blended cements to risks in construction, that is a risk management in construction, which was delivered by Dr. Premanand Shenoy, which was talking about the various risk factors which a construction professional faces. Then after that, we had a panel discussion on ready-mix concrete, on the impact of COVID on construction. And then we had a number of topics on how to make durable concrete, practical aspects for handling concrete at sites, and concrete mix proportioning. All those factors, we had number of webinars. And the idea of having this webinar is to ensure that the entire academic community as well as the construction professionals at field, get various perspective, because we are not giving one perspective here. You would be having speakers from the industry, you would be having speakers from the academics, you would be having speakers from various places. We had speakers from Odisha, we had speakers from West Bengal, we had speakers from Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka. So the thing is that you will find that you get different perspectives from various speakers. Now, to take that forward, what we have done is that from tomorrow onwards, May 14th to May 17th, we are having this national conference on recent advances in geotechnics for infrastructure, where you will have a number of key speakers. Professor M.R. Madhav, who is an expert in this subject, who would be talking about some challenging geotechnical solutions tomorrow. So he's one of the experts in this area, and I am sure that this would be of use for all of us. And then the next speaker on May 15th would be Engineer P. Mohan Prasad, who is an active geotechnical consultant for over two decades, and who has a geotechnical firm, Geomatrix, at Bengaluru. So he will be talking to us on May 15th. May 16th, we have a topic on significance of case studies in geotechnical engineering. That would be handled by Engineer I.V. Anirudhan, who is the CEO of a consultancy firm, Geotechnical Solutions at Chennai. So you will find that there are a number of talks on geotechnical engineering for the next 4 days. Professor G.R. Dodogaudar would be talking about the environment and pile raft foundation. So you will find that all this series of lectures would be useful. So this is being organized by the following institutions in collaboration with Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, Indian Geotechnical Society, Bangalore chapter, National Institute of Engineering, Mysuru, Sri J. Chamarajendra College of Engineering, Mysuru. So you will find that this conference, which is called as RAGI 2020, National Workshop on Recent Advances in Geotechnics for Infrastructure, which would be useful for all the construction professionals, because at the end of it, what is important is the foundation, the soil, and what is beneath it. So we have been able to get a galaxy of speakers to speak to the construction professionals. Now, there was a question as to how many of them can log in. So the answer is, through our WebEx link, maximum of 3,000 can log in. But then what we have done is that we have made it Facebook Live for all the 4 lectures that would be having. So there is no limit to the number of people who can attend this virtual conference starting from tomorrow. We would encourage the construction professionals, the students, the budding civil engineers, faculty of all the civil engineering colleges to be a part of this events, which is going to start from tomorrow. And please, you can also visit our Facebook page on this, the Ramco Cements Limited, and you would be able to get an update as well as the link to it. So those who want certificates or certification for each this thing, so you will have to log through our WebEx page, the link which would be sent to you. Those who are in our database, or those who are not able to get that, can log in live to the Facebook. So that's the series of lectures that you would be having. So that's it about a brief about the webinars, brief about the Ramco Cements, and let me invite the speaker for the day, Professor B.C. Rao, who will be talking about affordable housing. All of us today. Welcome you, sir, for the program, and thanks for sharing your time.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, sir. Good morning to all. Good morning to all the participants. And today, given a chance to speak on from the enterprise perspective. See, like Ramco is an enterprise, and the history and then the dynamics of Ramco, one has to really and then take lessons from them, the Ramco enterprise as an enterprise, and then that spirit should continue into the entire youth and also the people who wants to enterprise, even if they are 50, 60, 70, doesn't matter. So it's a question of enterprise, that's all. So now with a small introduction of myself, Mr. Anil has given a good favor. I made this particular topic of today into 5 different parts. So this first part of it is going for the policies of the government, as well as the schemes that are available for the affordable housings. Second goes into the markets and the cash flow situation and the reality part from various collection of the data which is recently done after the post-COVID situation, right from the 25th of April to the 10th of May. This is the latest data which I can say. The next one is, of course, to enthuse the what are the technologies that are being used for eco-friendly for the coming days, and also the very definitions of what the title makes it a sense. And then it goes into the role of the big companies who are into the business already, what they could do or contribute into the next phase of their business, like making a different portfolio than only the city construction part of it. And the final one is the scope of the youngsters, for the youngsters to get into the business of real estate or the construction activity to their satisfaction. It is a ethical, moral, and entire thing is a open business, unlike what it was there in the earlier real estate. So this is how it is going. And to begin with, I just thank my Institute Chairman, Chief Minister Chandrasekhar Rao Garu, and the Director General, Mr. Bhikshapati Garu, who made this particular National Academy of Construction to this particular level in the recent years. And we are training almost around 17,000 youth into different artisans and skilled personalities of around different 22 trades. And similarly, we have finishing school for the engineers and as well as for the postgraduates, the postgraduate diploma in project management as well as into the quantity survey. Totally, it is industry academia collaboration we are doing it. It's a wonderful different set of skills that are being now pushed out from National Academy of Construction. So with this, I'll just make my presentation start. Thank you. Anilji, this is uploaded. Just check up if it is there. I take it to the full screen. Is it visible, sir?
The share content.
Yeah, it is shared already.
Okay.
Are you able to see this presentation?
No, the presentation is not. You are able to see? Okay.
Yeah, yes, sir. It
Yeah.
might be because of low bandwidth. It might appear a little late at your place. It's visible. It's clear, sir.
Okay, this is a very simple presentation. I have not made like any, the very extraordinary three-dimensional type of presentation. It is down to the earth. What is the content required? Only on the first three topics, that is called the policies and schemes, as well as on the market and the cash flow for and the management part of the affordable housing. Similarly, the technologies that are where I am more than 50 or 60% of the technologies I am personally involved, and then see that they are implemented. You can see some few pictures, and the general also I made it up to 3D printing technology. Then the role of the big infra companies into this era, that is the peri-urban and the semi-urban areas, and scope for the startup. These last two topics will go as only a oral discussion because of the time lag here. So as I told this, this webinar is into the 5 parts, the policies and schemes. So I straight away goes into the policies and schemes. Get into before the policies, we have a certain geographical outlook that is we are definitely required for the, especially the youngsters and also the who are interested into the business. It is now the question, the enterprise can move from one place to the other place. They need not be locals. As far as the way the government is supporting, there definitely the enterprise can move into. Now the world has become so small, it is a question of how you are getting the facility. If you look at these things like NCR, I was told by a few of my friends, I got the connectivity throughout India at various cities because of my work with the Nagarjuna Construction Company as at vice president level for the contract management. I had to work into several states, and as a contractor also I happened to work in around 7 states. This all made the working in any state is so simple. Only question is you should not fear about how to work there. Only thing is the adjustment. Some fine tunes are required. If you see that now the under construction, the present scenario is at NCR, there are 4,25,000 units. Similarly, on the west side, Pune 262, Mumbai around 465, and Bangalore 202, and similarly Calcutta near to a lakh, and then Hyderabad is a smaller figure, and Chennai is a much smaller figure due to various reasons. So this is the present scenario where the situation is there. Now getting back into the policies, the policies and schemes which are impacting the affordable housing. The survey says that the policies are not really affecting, though we can call it like a 50-50% before the COVID situation. But after COVID situation, the fine tuning may be 4-5% here to there. It is not going to change much. So based on the response, more than 50% of the respondents, the picture is they are not aware about the policies and schemes. Now, I've collected with a courtesy from the ANRAC Research and Analysis Group. The GDP now, 2017, it was 6%. This is only to realize that what is the scope that is in front of us, whether it is a COVID or post-COVID situation or whatever the combinations that people are fear in the industry. But the reality part for the next 5 years, we have to create almost 50% of what it was. Then comes there is a decline. True, that is the foreign direct investment into the construction. And compared to the 2019 itself, it was reduced. And similarly, it is going to be half of 2275 in the coming years. But with the latest declaration of Prime Minister, yesterday what concluded the meeting, it is going to be a big boon for the infrastructure companies because they have to support the entire skill India, either it is MSME or MSME connected with the construction. It is going to be a real a good walk for the entire trade. Nothing to worry about only on the FDI part. When you get into this employment section, it very clearly shows that the employment potential is higher than what it is in the 2019. It is definitely going to be 10 to 15% more than what it is today. So now, a snapshot about the Indian residential part. I'm not getting into the office space and the commercial space, which is not my focus today. So these are the figures between 2013 and the first quarter of 2020, and what is the absorption and what are the unsold inventory. So this counts at around 1/4. So this unsold inventory, then there is again a division. When compared to 2018 and 19, the case is now in affordable segmentary, which is now focused as to 40 lakhs and below. The units which are priced below 40 lakhs. So this is our focus area also, today's focus area. So the base case is now slightly going up. It's not like in the pessimistic side. So coming back to the now, after this general idea about what exactly where we stand now, I just want to go through the entire history of like what it is. Different policies have come after the establishment of National Housing Bank, and then different schemes that are there. So Awas Yojanas and then Rajiv Awas Yojanas, and then allowing the foreign direct investment for 100% into the schemes. This went from right in 1987 to various years. This I need not explain too detailed. So now coming up to the 2018, the situation is now the GST on the affordable housing, and also 2019 and 20, the implementation of the RERA very strictly onto the semi-urban and urban areas. So these are all the things that which are policies affecting or supporting the entire housing sector. Mr. Anilji, I need not discuss about these points. Just I wanted to mention the government has certain policies over this. Okay.
Right. Just an information. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah. The whole idea of this is how the enterprise has to make their picture about it, not depending upon the newspaper and not depending on the TV discussions and all that. We are very clear and pro industry. We are not having any political scenario here. We do not have any polarization. What I mean to say, we are looking at the scenario as it is with a good sympathy as well as an opportunity.
Correct.
Okay, that now coming back to this, what are the factors when we calculate this particular thing? We make a relative importance index rating. This helps us what exactly where we have the scenario by a proper survey. So as rigorous we go into this, there will be like a clarity into this. For this, actually the CREDAI and Indian Green Building Council and what are the other associations, Builders Association of India and the several project management professional bodies and as well as the design engineers, architects, everyone has to contribute in a big way. This is the time where we have to pump in at least not less than 2 lakh inquiries are more than that, even up to 20 lakhs in the coming days. And then see that it is a responsibility of companies like Ramco to cooperate with Association of Consulting Civil Engineers and National Academy of Construction and all other bodies which are actively involved or connected with the infrastructure and see that there is these particular indexes are made after a realistic study touching either anywhere between 2 lakhs to 20 lakhs. And that gives the government a confidence. Yes, this is the area where we can really change the policy, the flexibility part of it. So the final thing which I can say after Prime Minister Modi's speech is this, the government has to accord, it is not yet accorded, only partially in 1 or 2 states it has accorded, but now it is the time that entire India has to accord the status of industry with a more clarity on that for the infrastructure. And then second one is the additional construction rights. Whatever the things that are there, I don't go into the detail like the additional FARs or additional rights, whatever in the form. There shall be a flexibility where the builders or the startup companies can gain around 10% of their profit only by the additional construction rights. So that they need not be like a very voracious or the profit mongers. So they have to get 2 or 3 benefits. Another benefit government has to look into that, immediately implement who are taking up the peri-urban. Peri-urban is outside the ring road, maybe 5 kilometers away from the ring road, what it is now to Hyderabad. Like all other cities also can follow the same thing, certain distance norms of the master plan, which is already in the implementation. And also 2-tier cities, which have certain master plan for their internal ring roads already made up or in the process. There, when somebody is taking up, that will be 5 kilometers or 6 kilometers from the boundary of the 2-tier cities. So this has to make a 10% subsidy or 2.5 lakhs, the minimum for per home constructed. So this 2.5 lakhs figure we have worked out with around 650 square feet of a house. That is a single bedroom house, which can be converted anytime into a small 2-bedroom. So that is like a studio apartments. So besides the concession, they have to also give us, give the fraternity certain other benefits. The list is not ended here. We can add another 5, 6, and government has to, this is the right time where government has to hear for the affordable housing. Then the situation comes here into the financial part. This is the market size, like the total market worldwide, and then what exactly then getting into the components of the financial affordability of housing. This is an analysis done by several international organizations in the interest of India and also the other Asian countries. So one side you have the cost to buy the house and cost to keep the house. So these two definitions says the affordability definition in 1, 2, 3, 4 levels. The first one is the house purchase price. This house price to be determined by the cost of land, infrastructure, building materials, labor, and profit. That is very clear definition, which all the learned people here on the webinar, they are aware of it. And second one is the ability to finance the down payment. This is the most situation where in cities like Hyderabad and Bangalore, Chennai, the prices have gone up like 1.5 to 2 crores also into the higher segment. And then what earlier it was there at around 50-60 lakh rupees, the affordability was very easy. That was prior to 4 years back. Now the situation is unless we move out and also adopt the eco-friendly at the same time affordable housing, then this bracket of 40 lakhs is not going to reach and help the youngsters who are in the age group of 30 to 35, where their dream to have the own house is not going to happen. So this is the right time we have to think and then leave the urban area. And coming to the definition of the third one is the ability to financially service the loans. This is depending on the very clear part of it. And then house occupation cost. So this is on the rental part. So these are the funding instruments which are behind the general structure of the housing. So the investors and creditors, which will come in the form of private equity, pension funds, insurance companies participating into rigorously with the high multinational companies, and then development finance institutions, then debtors, then the national or municipal tax base that also is making into in the form of bonds and then capital markets and through stock exchanges. So these are the other financial instruments when we go. These are public sector agencies like banks, pension funds, non-banking financial institutions, then other guarantors, then developers their own money, and then the other institutions. Similarly, the community financing, like I need not explain, several in India, we have several communities of the several in the several states. They fund to their societies and the society people in the interest of lending them. Similarly, they make it to any level, any model. So similarly, the municipal land and then infrastructure financing through the by taking hold of the municipal land or the government allocation of land, that they raise the funding from the keeping that as a mortgage or the equitable mortgage like a guarantee, wherein they are mobilized, because all the big 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs projects which we are seeing now, they go into these three models, whatever the thing now explained. Similarly, the housing supply side, there is a value chain. So this supply chain, what says the land acquisition and the securing title is the first part of it. There's a business process. Then the land use, we have to make it to the affordability and then make every precautions into the compliances part. Then goes into the next phase, like preparing the project plan, charter, from all the project management processes that are involved, including the handing over and then maintenance and whatever the improvements that are needed. So this is how the business model that usually goes into the large scale housing sector. But now, when coming into the reality, when we are thinking about the 40 lakhs units or the units costing below 40 lakhs, how we have to go about it? So I get into the technology part now. So which shows this is the very initial model where they try to make it with a pre-engineering model. Usually you started with the residential requirement into the industrial plants, because they need the entire housing within 2 months' time. This was the only best method. And here you see the different combination of the materials. Most part of it is like not of a bigger loads like brick walls and other things. Then from the scenario, there is a eco-friendly materials have come into the picture. This particular terracotta model with the voids inside, the same thing can be used for the slab, the same thing are used for the brick wall, and also this will go easily for up to ground plus 4 floors. This personally I have experience doing one particular project. in Hyderabad itself, and which is a very cost effective, and only the painting will be sufficient unless we need certain other things like the toilets and other areas where we have to have a fixtures. Even this, whatever the holes you are seeing here, that will be infilled material. And the vertical reinforcement, very nominal vertical reinforcement within that holes. Like these are all most of the participants here, they are aware of it. And the shuttering part of also, it is a very easy method. There is no high skill laborer required. Then the world moved into the, like, why not we make it into the ceramic bricks and then make it. So ceramic bricks also allow ground plus one very comfortably with only 6 inches wherever there is pilasters or any stiffeners are required. This can take us up to the 14 feet span comfortably. And because the main span on the roof, it comes only like around 4 feet actual spans. Then comes the Europe started with a bigger element like making the weight of the concrete from 20 to 100 kgs of the density to around 14 to 15 by using the thermocol. It looks like a solid, but inside there will be a small thermocol ball side. This technology went very well into many of the European countries. And also this particular part, because of the thickness like a solid rock wall, it also has the temperature insulation conditions, the main advantage of that. You can see the background house. After completion, this house also we come into that. So elevation wise and comfort wise, inside interior wise, they absolutely, they look like the very normal good houses, the conventional model. Then comes the GRPF. This is Rashtriya Chemicals and Fertilizers, Mumbai. They had a second byproduct that is called the GPRF, and then this particular material is molded into the panels. This also we tried, and then IIT Chennai, they made a ground plus 2 floors and made everything successful and shown the staircases and then even water tanks on the roof with that. But only the situation here is that these are all like the edges and other things are still yet to be improved into the much thing, but it is a very easy to handling. I'll get back into the cost aspects at the end of it. Similarly, there is another situation where one is to go for ground plus 5 floors, where Tatas have ventured into this. Like this is almost like a 3D on-site casting. Same thing will be used even for the factory casting. This is how the 3D modular by Tata Group that they have done. This entire 5-story building, the 20 apartments, they completed in, I would say, 33 to 40 days or whatever it is, even if it is 60 days, then it has a certain value and meaning. And this is done by one company of Hyderabad that's called Inventa. They have taken up the challenge. When our Chief Minister KCR asked them, why not you come forward and then match to the requirement, because we have around 1,000 rupees around for the conventional construction, and we will afford to 1,150 rupees if you are really making it into the in time and as well as with the quality. And they have taken up challenge, and this is the prior to like this completed around 7 months back, and the price index we can call it as a fixed as 2018 on average. So this is a one particular group of around 650,000 square feet with a ground plus steel to ground plus 9 floors. This is all precast panels done not like a hollow core. Hollow core is what we know for the large spans, but this has been with the small panels, factory made entire thing. This is a case of wonderful success when compared to the Noida cases and then other places. Hyderabad case is the most successful one. People can look at Hyderabad, and with this experience, Hyderabad people can venture to the outside also. So this is one house where I planned, designed, and also made with the Hyderabad panels HCL company. So we made it all panels with a prefabrication with only 80 by 80 columns. MS columns, and it has come up very well, a duplex house. And the whole time required for that, is not more than like 20 days. Ground plus 1 very sufficiently with a 12 feet spans. And whatever cube you are seeing with the pyramid, that is 16 feet by 16 feet on the top bedroom. And entire flooring is a PVC flooring. So here it is like whatever the China importing or exporting, this type of place it and then move it, movable units. And even the earlier one which I have shown also is like a totally on the boards. So this is another 3D technology. One company called BuildMate Engineers here at Hyderabad. They have taken up the challenge when the big gains were able to mobilize around 20,000 crores for the affordable housing. I don't name the companies for the confidentiality part. 3-4 companies in NCR as well as in Mumbai, they mobilized, made a joint ventures, and they will definitely go into the affordable housing very shortly. So this is the model and the technique which they are using. The entire 3D costing is done either at factory or at the like a factory production within the site limits and installed one over the other as a 3D units. So this is another technology which very recently I happened to involve and then participated, certified this particular thing. This is called Colgen Technologies. This is a UPVC quality fiber board on both sides, and all panels will be erected, transported and erected in the loose manner and erected at the site. At the third day, after the foundation is done, you can see the type of progress. And the 16th day, they made the housewarming ceremony. Because this particular technology don't require inside, outside, anything, unless we wanted to paint it. Entire thing comes with a very rich quality gray color. So the reinforcement requirement for the total house is, when compared to the square feet wise, it is less than 1.5 kgs. It's an excellent this one, and the cost effectiveness is excellent into this. And based upon the number of floors, we can go into any like up to 5 floors, depending on the wall thickness adjustment. This is designed in a systematic manner. And Hyderabad is able to achieve and is handling and supporting these type of technologies. Incidentally, I have to share that I am also founder trustee of Pre-Engineering Structure Society of India, established around 6 years back in Hyderabad. We, the entire team, working in a very robust way and hand in hand with several organizations, and also conducting every year one national conference, which is really successful, supporting organizations like Preca, Inventa, and many other suppliers in the precast area. So this is another model where the fashion for the people to build high-end houses also is possible with this technology. So ultimately now the people just dreaming and then fantasizing, and they have their entire romantic efforts that when the 3D printing is going to come and how it is going to do it. In a small prototype model, this is shown here. But 3D printing is not very far away. As the people from the industry, they see it. You can see it here. It's a very systematic, including all the inserts that are required. The 3D printing can take care. But the cost effectiveness is not into our reach now. So this is what I just wanted to say here. So coming back to these are the basic thing for affordable housing is the lightweight, and the thicknesses should be like depending on the number of floors, 110, 155, 200, 250 thick, and they should be accessible for the remote locations, and they should be disaster resistant and suitable for all seismic zones, and high rise as approved by several government bodies, and then thermal insulations are higher by when compared to the additional other technologies, and they should also act into the several other standards, the high design flexibility, and the low risk of changes in the regulatory guidelines. These are all the certain things where we have to come out. Then coming back to the future affordable housing sector will be much in the demand and the dependency on the housing will increase with respect to population. So the government now has to take up that the peri-urban has to be developed. We, from the consultancy side and the project management panels, platforms, we were addressing these issues and also making our knowledge disseminated to the bureaucrats and then those who are in the FIR to change the things. This is happening for the last 2-3 years. They are also slowly understanding the need of developing the peri-urban. Peri-urban is now, in a simple definition, it is at least 5 kilometers after the ring road. And once it is connected, there are the policies we have to take up. And as per that policies, the one can travel up to the ring road with their own two-wheelers or whatever the mode of transportation. It takes hardly 5 minutes for them. From there, it will be like the pollution free on the ring road. Then they can reach to their destination, whether it is 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or maximum 50 minutes. That is the case. So the same case like what is metro from one end to the other end, it is taking 1 hour. The same thing also can be done with the ring road. Also government is now looking at the entire ring road also go into the metro rail method. So the things will become ease and also it will help the affordable housing. It is the right time that we have to think. As the housing deficit is witnessed, the housing industry has a huge scope in the future. With this increasing policy schemes initiated in the housing sector, the demand is going to be higher and higher. So not only 2022, it is going to be 2030 also. This particular housing sector infrastructure is. Only thing is there is a need for the transformation. What we were thinking in our method. So there are certain pointers for the youngsters, like they have to go for the granulated concreting, and also there is almost elimination of the brickwork and the total control on the purchasing capacity, and also on-site quality control and quality assurance on the whatever the mixed design, that is going to be a lightweight mixed design, and also whatever the inventory that is possible from the various sources, there shall be a mechanism supporting these youngsters who are coming forward, taking up 150 houses to 400 houses in the peri-urban. This is the whole idea of today's my talk. So coming to the business part, see the business continuity planning shall be there. The space optimization for the cost rationalization is required. The adoption to the technology. This is all on the startups for the youngsters who wanted to take up into the new technologies and daredevil to come up and then prove themselves. And the National Academy of Construction give wholehearted support, whatever technology they wanted to take up, either to the medium level builders already who has proved and then they got into the 100 to 300 crores turnover, or the very startups who wanted to start up with their own model of supporting with the other groups who are not into the real estate. Also, we can make our support as well to the already big infrastructure companies. All big infrastructure companies, they have their own in-house strategy management and as well as the technology management and also cost control management and risk management. All these things are available to them in-house. That is where they are able to take up the fund activity wherever it is possible on the global side. But whereas the small builders or medium-sized builders, they have the scope. I'm sure that the big builders with the small margins, definitely they don't venture into the peri-urban. They have ventured earlier, but their venture is almost into the independent houses, which are again around 2.5 crores to 3 crores is their price, offset price. So that is not affordable for the middle class and upper middle class. So now we have to make the focus on the liquidity and the cash flow management. So these particular 6 points is the key that is now concluded that the younger generation or the medium-sized infrastructure companies want to go get into the peri-urban. So this is all like thank you, sir. This is what I can show to you all for today.
Thank you so much, sir. In fact, that was a very valid topic for the day, affordable housing. In fact, you have also brought in the concept of peri-urban. In fact, there was a question also, distinguishing between urban, suburban, peri-urban. There was a clarification. If you could throw some light on that also, so that fundamental concept is also clarified, sir.
Yes, sir. I have a small issue here. I am not able to close that. Can
That's
you just
okay. That's okay, sir. You can speak. We are able to see you.
Okay, right. So the concept of peri-urban is from the what we can say the progressive thinking mentalities. See, the villagers who are around 50 kilometers from the city, the main core cities, they shall not be dislodged in spite of their education, in spite of their all other activities connected with the city, either it is in the business part or into any other mode of the public relations, whether it's they are into any other mode of activities. So they should be able to stay back into their areas and do all the businesses, including the education, unless it is so much required. So the people shall not get disturbed who are there from the city from 50 kilometers to 75 kilometers. So this is actually the from the core, the radius, what we call it, the Hyderabad's core to the 50 kilometers. So the outer ring road is approximately into around 20-25 kilometers as on date at most of the places. And bearing it now, see anything that moves up to 50 kilometers. Now at present, right after the out to the ring road, the situation is the people for the opportunities, they are leaving their houses and then they are leaving all their day-to-day activities, including the agriculture, coming to the city. And there is a lot of mechanism in the city, which I don't want to speak it here. What is you called is the middleman. So middleman is exploiting left, right, top, bottom, all the villagers who are producing either whatever the produce that is coming to the city, they are buying it at a cheaper price and then they are throwing it out into the at a higher price, like 300%, 400%. The progressive thinking people, they made this concept that the peri-urban shall go into a flourishing part with a more support for a sustainable agriculture along with their living. Okay, then there will be like a present village of around 400 houses or 300 houses, will be adding up another 3,000 houses in an eco-friendly manner, like in a 200 square yards or 150 square yards, whatever it is. And if they are able to afford there, like with another 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs, they can have a collective farming. There is a peace of mind. There is a happiness involved into that. But now the most of the IT middle and senior level managers getting away from Hyderabad, even up to 50 kilometers, like places like Vikarabad and then Shadnagar. All these places they are venturing now for the last 3 years and going for an independent houses with a different concept altogether. They want to have their own green belt, eco-friendly system. So this is a peri-urban model to make the city to sustain without further pollution or like the coming inflow of the attack of the traffic increase. That's what the peri-urban concept.
You're throwing light on the policy initiatives as well as on how to get going. You're given a very broad picture of all those things in terms of precast elements, various initiatives that has been taken. I'm sure with your experience in all these areas, because you were working with organizations, you are now in academics, you are an entrepreneur. I'm sure that you are given the right direction to all of us. In fact, as where things are going. So for that, let me thank you. Would you like to take one more question, sir? Last question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity given by Ramco and the team of Ramco.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. So the thing is that we would be having a webinar tomorrow. The conference which is going to be held on geotechnical engineering.
Yes, sir. I have seen. Yes, sir. I'll join.
Various topics.
More questions for today.
One more question is there, sir. They were asking about the foundation. Like say, for example, you have this. What kind of foundation should be there for affordable housing? Like, you were showing some precast houses and all that.
Okay.
What kind of foundation should be prepared for such kind of?
Can I get the opportunity? What is the background of the question here?
The background, we can just see the name, sir. Background we may not be able to see.
Or he can open up speaker, that is, I'll text it, because that makes the difference.
Okay, okay.
Now, coming back to that particular point, all these housings which I have shown,
Okay.
either it is a ground or ground plus 2 or ground plus 5. Maximum is ground plus 5 with a affordable housing model without compromising the quality of the finishings and everything, and speed of construction as well. So it's around anywhere between 800 rupees, including end to end, other than the development cost of the land, which may add around 100 to 200 rupees more, because this is all peri-urban. So that's how it goes. Up to maximum it will touch, including altogether it's around 1400 is the maximum cost. Against what it is going now, around 2000 to 2400 into the city area.
So I think that's.
You are aware, once it is a multi-story building of 20 floors, 30 floors, the time taken is itself is 30 to 40 months. The cost of finance is too huge.
True, true.
Yes. The foundation, they need not worry. We are here to help them for the most sustainable foundation.
Okay. Right. Thank you so much, sir. We don't want to take much of your time, and thank you for sparing your time and coming over here. So on behalf of Ramco Cements Limited, I thank you for having accepted the invitation and having spared your time to be a part of this knowledge sharing series, in which the construction professionals would have gained a lot. And we have been giving this, from different speakers, so that everybody can take a different perspective, and that will give a lot of ideas to them. So with those words, I thank all the construction professionals who have logged in, and I thank you for having accepted all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Best of luck to all of you. Thank you
So much.